Again, like I wasn't really feeling it this morning, but now I've got that fire back. I think I was focusing way too much on like the sort of positive-based motivation. It's like the stuff I could get, like success and legacy and all that kind of stuff. So I started like focusing on negative-based motivation, like the stuff that would happen if I didn't do it, which is basically like probably living with parents till I was like 50 or something. Like also like if I didn't do this, like this wouldn't build, I wouldn't get anywhere. Like literally, I'd make an idiot of myself on this as well. Like just like what am I? I've got to drive on. Also thinking like if I didn't have this like mission and just gave it up and got a job, like it would make everything so boring. Like what would I do if I failed? Like I really need to step this thing up. Like I'm just not pushing myself enough. I need to full on step it up and grind it out every day, every hour. Let's go. By the way, to new viewers, like thanks for watching. And when I'm not going crazy like this, I'm doing Vayner Time on Saturday and a book o'clock on Sunday. Just rewatch my snaps for today. Like maybe I should calm it down a little bit. Like I'm going to end up bursting a blood vessel if I carry like that. Oh my days, like I'm absolutely drained today. I think it's the amount of boring repetitive tasks I'm doing at the moment. It's just making my energy go boom. Got very little done today. Like yesterday I did loads, but like I think I've just been completely drained out from the repetitive rubbish. But like, I've got to have to push on with it. But the amount of like paperwork and like tax stuff and registration stuff that's going to take place in the next few weeks is going to be a nightmare. So sorry to the people who have been watching for a while, but I just want to sort of like tell new viewers sort of what I do, like the sort of schedule I've got on this whole thing. Okay, so every Saturday is going to be this thing called Vayner Time, which is where I read out 2 questions from the Ask OV book, summarise his answer, and then say my thoughts. Every Sunday is this thing called Book O'Clock, which is where I sum up a business-related book, sort of say the main points and again my thoughts. And during the weeks can be pretty much like my Amazon mission and sort of me trying to make it big on Amazon. Gonna wind down for a little bit and watch episode 105 of the Ask Gary show. I only actually started watching it at 106, so I've never seen this. I've got absolutely loads done today so far. Like I don't think I'm quite going to change my name to Pete Roberts, fake entrepreneur just yet. But this week hasn't been that great. I think like partly why I'm not working as hard as I want to. Lots of the tasks at the moment are proper boring. Like they don't involve too much adrenaline. So like I'll go through them now. Like so most of it's like listing stuff on Amazon and eBay, packing stuff up, doing all my accounts, like copying and pasting stuff across, and then the sourcing, which is good. Like I'm hoping I can sort of like automate and employ people to do some of those tasks over the next few months, so I can focus on sourcing, which is what's going to grow this thing up. I'm at least sort of like slightly nervous about this whole like scaling process because I've never done it before, but like at the same time it makes it exciting. So let's go. Just watching some of my main May and Gary Vaynerchuk. Let's see what he's been up to the last few days. Just comment about like playing the orchestra rather than like playing the violin. Like to me that sort of says focus on like mainly the tactics and strategy behind things. I think it's actually quite difficult to know what CEOs actually do without like looking at it like this. Like so it's hard to tell if you actually want to do it or not, but it looks pretty good I think. Like I know this is just like one example, and I'm sure like other business owners have different schedules and stuff, but still, I find it quite useful to have a look at it. I just think like the whole like tactics and strategy behind like the marketing, the people management, and the product development looks right up my street. Like it looks awesome. It's Vayner Time, episode 3. Right, so for those of you who haven't seen it before, like every Saturday I go through 2 questions of the Ask Gary V book, summarise his answer, and say my thoughts on it, basically. Okay, so the first question is, you say to put out quality content daily. If so, can I curate content as well? He says he puts out a lot of original content, which is his strength, but then he doesn't put out enough curated content, which is his weakness. So he says he could do with doing more of that. He says that adding the created content onto your original content will get even more exposure and therefore more sales. He says that creating content is a bit like DJing, sort of like adding your own spin to it and making sure it fits the context of your audience. Platforms are recognizing that created content with context is actually valuable to people, so they're making people have the tools in order to be able to do this. For example, Tumblr and Twitter encourage reblogging and retweeting, which is only valuable if the audience is actually interested in that stuff. I mean, this whole show is basically created content. Like, this is all Gary Vee's content, which I'm adding my own spin to and created my own show out of, pretty much. I mean, people could obviously read this book and all the other books I do themselves, but I'm sort of doing it for you to bring value and hopefully a little bit of entertainment as well. Okay, so here comes the second question. I had to sort of go get a bit of sugar in my system just then because I was getting kind of knackered out, but buzzing now, so let's go. Number 2. So I work in 2 different spaces. How do I use social media to not confuse my audience? Okay, he says you can handle this in 2 different ways. Okay, so you could create 2 separate accounts for every single platform, like 2 different Twitter handles, which should help for targeting better. Or you can make yourself branded at both, so everyone knows they can come to you for both of them, which is more difficult to do, but you can still target each segment of your audience. For example, he's known for both wine and business, so if he wanted to target people for wine-based information, he'd put wine-based adverts up and target people on Facebook. Like, I think I'm pretty much always going to separate the 2 different subjects into 2 different accounts, because it makes it clearer to people, and like he said, it's easier. And then again, like, I don't really want to be known as like a sort of expert in lots of different niches, so it might be a bit different for me. I want to have loads of different niches, but I don't want to be the public persona of them all. So that's the end of this week's Vayner Time. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something from it. And I'll see you next Saturday. See ya.
You know what I like a lot more than materialistic things? Knowledge.
It's book o'clock. Again, for those of you who don't know what this is, basically every Sunday I go through a business-based book and summarise what it says. Okay, so today I'm going to be going through Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Okay, so the first point is we can only achieve our goals if we have a burning desire to get it, rather than sort of just kind of wanting it. Make it a burning desire by doing the following, he says. Write down your goals and say them out loud daily twice to make sure it's engraved into your system. Define your goals in a specific way and draw up an action plan in order to get those goals. You need an unwavering faith in yourself to achieve these goals. And this is how he says to do it. Use auto-suggestion, which is basically sort of trying to persuade yourself every morning that you are capable of doing it in order to get that self-belief. Make sure you continuously improve your knowledge base throughout life in order to get the skills you need to succeed. Okay, so number 5, he breaks the imagination into 2 different segments. Okay, so the first segment is creative imagination, which is basically coming up with completely new things. Second is a synthetic imagination, which is rearranging existing things to make new things. So basically in business, it's remarketing really. Okay, so 6 is be aware of your strengths and weaknesses by being self-aware and asking others about it. Constantly look for positive emotions to keep you in a positive frame of mind by being around positive people. Stick to a decision that you make if you firmly believe it. Like, no matter what everyone else says, like, if you believe in something, stick to it. Be persistent. The main way to fail is to give up, and do this by doing these 4 things that he says. So you must have a concrete goal and have a burning desire to achieve that goal. You also need a precise plan to implement and achieve those goals. You also need to be able to avoid being disheartened by negative opinions of you. Furthermore, to be persistent, you need a group of trusting individuals that will support you through every stage of your journey. Finally, you need to be smart and surround yourself with smart people, which he calls a brain trust. Right, so I hope you're still awake after all that. That took ages. I had to recharge my phone halfway through because it used up 50% battery just then. But yeah, like I was quite surprised by this book. Like, I thought before reading it, I thought it would be kind of like hocus pocus, but it was actually quite sort of useful, good information. I thought. Like I went into this expecting the book to just say, "Oh yeah, just believe it and you'll get it," but it does take into consideration talent and hard work. I would say that the sort of like repeating that you're able to do it all the time might lead to a bit of self-delusion, but for some people it might stop them from giving up. But I'm definitely going to use a lot of this information to strategize better and keep going. And by the way, boom, 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 boom. I know you're thinking that. So yeah, that's the end of this week's Book O'Clock. Like, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something from it. And again, this is every Sunday, so tune in next week. And again, like I do realise, I've said this before, but I realise it's quite fast, sort of boom, boom, boom. So if you need to watch it again, scroll down to my name and watch it again if you like. And by the way, like I don't think my brother's posters encourage too much entrepreneurial activity. I'll go through them now. There's smoking, there's fighting, there's boozing, and there's smoking the ganja. Still awesome though, whatever. I'm in like a really weird mood at the moment. I'm thinking like it's not happening. Like it's not going to grow. Like what am I doing? A lot of self-doubt happening right now. Don't know why. I'm getting kind of worried by the sheer amount of people like competing against me on all my listings. Like I think that's why I was worried on Sunday night. I only see this Amazon business model being like viable for like 2 more years really. Then there'll be too much competition. But I'm going to move on to my own online store in 2 years, I think. Hopefully it'll be like a decent model for that long. Like otherwise, I'm absolutely screwed. If everyone comes in too fast, that's it, game over. But on a slightly more positive note, like I've pretty much nearly finished the registration now, and it should all be basically set up in a week or two, I think. Right, again, I'm like flip-flopping this whole like show thing, all these shows on the weekend again. Like, I still don't know if it's really wise to do it just yet. I'm worried they'll end up sort of like building up a massive viewing base, and then everyone will copy with Amazon, and then I'll end up being unemployed again, and I'll shoot myself in the foot. Again, like I do kind of like keep thinking, oh, should I, shouldn't I? Like, and it might not even build up that much, but I don't know. Like, I just think I'm not 100% sure what to do at the moment. Like, there's that, it's the competition thing, and like I think it's sort of a bit of a distraction. Like, I need 100% of my effort on Amazon. I think maybe, but yeah, like I might just be panicking about nothing. Like, it might not build up that much, and like lots of people might not know what they're doing on Amazon. Like, it's quite difficult. Like I know people are going to sort of think this might be a potentially a selfish move, but like honestly, I'm absolutely screwed if this Amazon thing doesn't work. Like, what am I going to do?